Hey everyone, in today's lesson we're going to build off of the previous lesson where we learned about primary keywords and where to use them on your web page. Today we're going to talk about secondary keywords, which are basically variations on your primary keyword. So if you've been following along, we've been using Helen's kitchen cooking classes in Natick, Mass. It's a real business, and we're using it as the example that we're working off of. And our primary keyword there was cooking classes in Natick, Mass. Now for this secondary keyword exercise, we can basically just drop the location off of that, and we're just going to kind of think about that cooking classes keyword. So if that's our primary keyword, what are the variations we could build off of that? Well, I've got some right here on our training page, and you can see cooking school, culinary school, cooking training, cooking lessons, cooking experience, classes for cooking. So there's all kinds of variations that could exist. And it's a good idea to use variations. When we looked at the primary keyword, we talked about the big four and using it in the URL, the title tag, the H1, and the first paragraph. Once you've done that, you've pretty well established the primary keyword, and it's time to start using variations so that Google can match your document to all kinds of different ways that people might search for your keyword, okay? So those are the kind of secondary keywords we're working with. Now, where do you use secondary keywords? Well, I suggest using them in the second half of the title tag, and I'll give you an example of that. You can use them in subheadings, and you can also use them in body paragraphs on your web page. Now, there are other areas where you can use any keywords really, and we will talk about those in the future, like images is one example. But I want to kind of keep today's lesson simple and straightforward, and we will talk about images and all kinds of other web page fields in the future. So our next task is, how do we come up with these secondary keywords? Well, this is the workflow I suggest, and it's going to look pretty similar to the workflow for coming up with a primary keyword. The first thing you want to do is brainstorm variations on your own. So look at your primary keyword and then try to think of the different ways that people might search for that. Those can be your secondary variations. Your next step is to work with an AI. So you could use Gemini in Chrome. I love using it because it's just so convenient. But you could use Claude or ChatGPT, whatever, and just give it the full context. Say, this is the web page I'm working on. Here's a little information about it. Here's what I decided on for the primary keyword, and now I need some secondary keywords. I need some variations. And when you do that, you're going to get new ideas, but you're also going to confirm some of your own brainstorming ideas. And you're just going to solidify like, yes, those were good ideas. Now, the third place I suggest going is Google's Keyword Planner. This is a free thing you can sign up for. If you have any trouble signing up for it, by the way, just go to Google or Perplexity and look up how to sign up for Google Keyword Planner free. So this is what you do in Keyword Planner. I'm going to show you the workflow. We're going to go to Tools. We're going to go Keyword Planner. And this time you're going to go to Discover New Keywords. All right, and you're going to type in your primary keyword. So cooking class, or you can just do cooking classes. It doesn't really matter. And notice how I dropped off the locality. I didn't put Natick, Mass, and here's why. It's because of this instruction right here. Try not to be too specific or too general. Okay, so for me, cooking class is enough. That's going to help the tool understand what I want variations off of. And I am going to go ahead and drop Helen's URL here. Poor Helen, we're picking on her for all these examples. Maybe she'll get some optimization ideas if she ever sees these videos. So let's click Get Results. And this is really cool. So here I can see my primary keyword, cooking class, okay? And now I can see keyword ideas below. So cooking school, that's a fantastic variation. Kitchen cooking, not so much, at least in my opinion. And here's where human discretion comes in. Don't just accept everything this tool or any other tool gives you. Culinary school, it's a pretty good one. You know, I wasn't sure about this one. I thought maybe, I don't know what would come up, like more established schools, colleges. I wasn't really sure about this one. So what you can do is just go to Google search, culinary school, Natick, Mass. So I did throw in the geo-targeting on that keyword, and I'm gonna hit that, and I'm just gonna see what shows up, and I just wanna make sure that it's relevant to Helen and her business. And sure enough, she shows up #1 in the map pack, and she also shows up #1 here. So that one's kind of a no-brainer. It's relevant. I'm going to use it. Okay, and that's basically what I did. I just went down the line and I just vetted all these keywords and made sure that they looked good. If you want as well, you can go over here to the competition column and make sure that everything is like medium or low. We decided in a previous lesson that we were going to steer clear of high competition keywords. Wouldn't be a good idea for Helen. Not a good idea for anyone really, unless you're a pretty well established brand or business. So now we've got all these great keyword ideas. What do we do with them? Like I said, you can use them in the title tag, the subheadings, or the body paragraphs. But let's talk about a cool thing that you can do with keyword variations. One way to use them is just use the full keyword, okay, obviously. So you can just say cooking school. But another way you can use these is just part of the keyword. And the reason you might want to do this is so you don't sound too repetitive or redundant. Like let's say you were doing the title tag and it said cooking classes Natick, Mass, and then you came in with cooking training. It doesn't read all that well. So what I might do is drop the cooking. Let's take out the repetition and just use the training part. We've got all these great keywords for that kind of purpose too, like training, lessons, experience. Those are all fantastic words. We can just use those words. And since it's so obvious that this is a page about cooking classes and cooking school, the keyword is almost implied. So you don't even really have to use the whole thing. And if you did, your page would turn out really spammy and it wouldn't read well. And like I've said, I want to teach you how to be a tasteful SEO and create really good content that reads well. So know that that technique is available, and we're going to apply it right now in the title tag. Cooking classes in Natick, Mass, primary keyword, in-person lessons and training. And those are underlined in dashed purple to show that they are partial secondary keywords that we've used. All right, and that is perfectly okay to do. That is a great title tag. So that's how you could work the title tag in this specific example. Let's kind of see things in action on the page. So we got our title tag above here. We've got our primary keyword in the eyebrow, if you remember from last lesson. And we've got some great audience copy in the primary heading. So this is looking really good. Let's see where the secondary keywords come in. So you can see right here in the first paragraph, primary keyword, that's part of our big 4. That's great. More than a cooking school. So we're using it in a subheading. We're a little deeper on the page when we throw in cooking school. Helen's began as a small culinary school and grew into blah, blah, blah. So now we've naturally fit in another variation. So we're really getting these in well. In-person lessons and real training. This is kind of an echo of the title tag. We're using partial secondary keywords in a really organic, natural way. And then here's another subheading. Cooking experience, classes for cooking. You kind of get the idea. So that is your lesson on secondary keywords or variations on your primary keyword. I've given you 3 ways to come up with the ideas and then 3 places where you can use them. And I've given you 2 techniques for using secondary keywords. You can do the full keyword or you can just do the partial keyword if you want to be a little more tasteful in certain scenarios. Like the video if this was helpful to you. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, leave me a comment and I'd be happy to help you. I'll see you in the next lesson.